so many artists making music. There's 200,000 songs, I believe, a day being uploaded on DSPs across the world.
Right.
Where is the money being made today?
The money is made in ownership and masters. The master pays 3 to 4 times as much as publishing. So if you can put out your own music and pay for your marketing and 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 just have a distributor, you can, own 80% or 90% based upon the distribution fees. The money is in master ownership. That's why the independents are winning. That's why the majors are downsizing and becoming distributors basically and giving money based upon the
Yeah.
works and the what the artists are doing. I mean, look at our big extra plug, United Masters, one of the biggest artists independently. I mean, streaming at least 100, 200, 300,000 a week, 400,000 a week. I mean, independently. But the marketing is
Wow.
the key part of artists being successful. So I believe without that, if you have that with an independent artist and have a budget to push it, you can own a big piece of the pie. And the majors will have to pay you based upon a multiple of the success that you're already having as an independent artist. And as you can
Yeah,
see, most independent
absolutely.
artists are just cashing in and getting the big things so they can run their own stuff. Uh, and not have a major and wait on a release date and 30 artists in front of you. No, we want to release now. And if you look at the model right now, it's going back to Motown in the days when we had Motown and we had Sam Cooke's label and all of
Hmm.
these James Brown
Yeah.
when they released and released and they flooded the market and the big corporate giants came and partnered with them where we thought we had more, but really independently we had more than we really knew and we
Without
had
them.
more leverage.
Yeah.
So I believe we're
Yeah.
going back to that, and that's where the money is.
Oh, can we talk? Can we talk? R&B.
What's up? What's up? It's your boy Ian Vaughn, the host of the Can We Talk R&B podcast, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I am your R&B ambassador, and I have a special, very special guest today. This is what we do. We bring special guests, not just for entertainment standpoint, but I like to call this show an edutainment show. We have my brother Prince Howard, the publishing guru, in the building. He's going to give us some information and just really just enlighten us on a number of things, his career, all the fantastic things he's done in his career in terms of artists that he's worked with and the business that he's accomplished. We're going to talk money. We're going to talk business. We're going to talk music, all of the above. I have a very special guest, publishing guru, Prince. What's good, brother?
What's good? What's good? Good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for making the time. And just for the audience, I mean, this is not, I guess people don't really say this, but we're going to just keep it buck. We actually shot this episode and recorded it before, and then there was a technical issue on my side. So I wanted to reshoot it to where we make sure we're able to put this out because I feel like we had a lot of great information that the audience, I believe, could really learn from and just enjoy across the board. So thank you for making the time again to shoot with us,
Most
brother.
definitely.
So as I ask always, the same question: Can we talk R&B?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Most
So
definitely.
let me let's get right into it. Like you, you're coined the publishing guru. So
Right.
let's talk about how important publishing is in the music business, right? We hear so many stories about artists throughout their careers that uh, they wrote these songs or they were part of these particular projects, and these songs sold X amount of albums, and then some of them made a lot of money, and some of them didn't make any money, or some of them never got paid because of ownership or all these different things. Let's talk about what publishing is and what that means.
Well, publishing is the first of all, thank you for having me on your platform. It's great to be here. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But definitely, publishing, there are two things that are essential in the money making cog of music, and that's the master royalties, and then there's the publishing royalties, which is the intellectual property the creation of music, which is the writing and composition and music of creating a song. So just like their Intel chips to run a computer, guess what? Publishing runs the music game. It is the most essential part for all creatives, whether you're a producer, songwriter, artist, in getting the money from what you're creating. So without publishing and without it, money's being generated on performance royalties, mechanicals playing on radio. When you hear this music and move in malls and at the gas station and all that those monies as a master license that's put out, and they're paying royalties on those songs to be played in all facets on distribution, DSPs, the digital service for Spotify, all of that. So
Mhm.
without publishing, we have no music industry.
Right.
As my mentor once told me, Bruce Ruffin, uh, that publishing is the manure to the industry. So just like when you farm, you have to put manure down to cultivate the soil so that it's malleable and you can grow and get the fruits and vegetables that you need from the ground. That's what publishing is to the music game. And so without it, there's nothing.
No, absolutely. So that's incredible. So before we get into the, I guess, the meat of that, like, let's
Mhm.
talk about what got you even in the business in the first place. Most people, we think about the music industry. Everybody wants to be an artist. Everybody wants to be a producer. Everybody wants to be a songwriter. Uh, but we don't think about the people who want to be on the management side, or who wants to be, on the business side of it. I mean, we don't hear enough stories about those.
Right, right, right. It's crazy because I had no aspirations of being in the music industry, either as a manager or creatively. I just love music, but my base of where I come from is entrepreneurship, and I was a financial consultant, had my own company, and I came in as an investor in a particular artist, and that artist was from Australia, and I brought him here with his manager to the U.S. to get a music deal because he was signed
Gotcha.
overseas and get and cross the waters and break him here in the states. And so I came in as an investor, and from that's where my music career spawned from, which is totally different probably from the normal person because somebody was either intern, worked underneath somebody, and moved up, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and moved up the ladder. But I came in spending money. So you have to, when you spending money, you learn what's important
Yeah.
and what's not important because you
Certainly
realize
not.
that you are spending money on things that are, guess what, not important. I mean, the music, and then you're spending on living for the artist, and you realize
Yeah.
what you need to spend it on. So that's how I came in, and I started to love it. I'm like, man, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
started to learn the business from my attorneys and people around me that I had hired to help me. You know,
No, absolutely. So, how long? So, what year was this? How long ago was this for you to jump in the
whoo,
game?
this was oh three, 2003,
Okay. Yeah.
2004, sort of toward, yep, because I was top of 2003. We got him here, and we went into the studio and uh, immediately start recording with some of the top producers, James Groove Chambers, uh, Rio and Jamal, who did So Gone. And I mean,
Yeah.
he had we had the best of the best. And so,
Yeah.
me being a businessman, these guys start asking me what did I do because they didn't know who I was in the studio because I always wore suits, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Is he the fans? Is he an alphabet boy?" And I'm like, the artist is like, nah, that's the guy that's the investor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, how old are you, first of all? And at the time, I was probably 25, 26.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just kind of went on from there. And they were like, what do you do? So that's when I got into my financial company, what I did. And they were like, man, you can
Yeah.
help us. And that's how I got to really start the management trail, which was started with business management.
So was it more like hip hop artists that kind of got you in the door, or like what genre was it that kind of got you in?
Actually, you know what? I came in on the R&B side, R&B pop
Okay,
side with the artists on the investor side.
yeah,
And but my first real break on the management side came from a production crew called Macamace Productions, which was an Atlanta native and legend, Cool Ace, and my boy Ryan Adams. They were a production crew, and
yeah,
and unbeknownst to me, he was also a client on the financial side. And he was like, I make beats. And I was like, bro, you own
right,
like two, three businesses. It's no way. You got to play me some because I don't believe this. This is crazy.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it wasn't far fetched because I'm from Atlanta. He played in the band at Frederick Douglass High School. And I went to Harper. So I was in the band playing trumpet. And we knew each other through passing. But I was like, he got some music, but I don't know if he make beats. So he took me
Yeah.
around, and we ended up on Bankhead at D4L Studios, and they played me the records that they produce, and then Laffy Taffy and Bet You Can't Do It Like This, all
Yeah.
these great records that were bubbling at the time. Bet You Can't Do It Like This was actually in the Pool Palace. If you know about Atlanta, it's one of the legendary places where music was being broke and
Okay.
to the people in Atlanta. So they'd go to the club and we would hear these records, and then you had to dance to, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
in the middle of that, he said, I need you to manage me and Ace. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about this. I don't know nothing about man, but I do know business though. And that's the
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
So business is always going to be business, no matter what business it is. So there's
That's
basic
right.
practices and foundations that's going to be there. So I said, I got an attorney. I got an entertainment lawyer. So I put them with them and got them situated, got their publishing and everything situated, the advance. And that was my first gold project. I got it. Out of all the plaques that I have, to me, that plaque meant the most because it was with my ATL brothers, and it was the break. It was the beginning of who I am and who I've become in the music industry so far.
No, absolutely. I love that. So what made you so I know some about we have a lot of mutual friends in the space
Right, right,
that are making a lot of noise in R&B music. So like fast forward it to I think about our dear friend Tim Kelly, the legend himself.
right, right,
Uh we think about, I know you have a partnership with him with some things
right.
you guys have going on. You want to talk about what you guys are doing?
Well, well, our friendship is one of mutual respect. I met him while working on Lyrica Anderson. I was in LA, and one of the labels that I had done a single situation with, he was the head of the R&B and head of the VP. And but when I got to Atlanta, I hit him on the DM, and he was like, "I'm working with Lyric." He's like, "That's one of my favorites. I love her." So he came and met me. This was during COVID, and when I flew
Okay.
into LA, and we met, and I saw not only backstory of a producer songwriter, but also a musical genius in the standpoint that he understood the other side of the business as well. So that's how we became close, and
Yeah.
we partnered up. He has a label. He's working on a situation, joint venture situation, and he's producing other artists. So I've been kind of there helping him with all of that, and administratively, and all of that good stuff. So it's one that a partnership that's pretty dope, and the fact that you know when you with somebody that sold as many records as he has and as many hits, you know,
Yeah.
um, sort of my accomplishments are cool, but they're like, oh dang, you know what I'm saying? And the more I've
Yeah.
been in the music game, and I'm always blessed when people recognize the talent and the business acumen that I have, and
Yeah,
see fit to bring me along and put me in position to express and do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. No,
yeah,
shout out to Tim. 600 million albums sold between him and Tim with their team, Tim and Bob. That's
yeah, crazy.
legendary. So it ain't many people who can even speak in that air. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
when we think
right.
about the great contributors to not just R&B, but just to music in general. There are
Oh
not a
yeah,
lot of people out there in that conversation. You know what I'm saying? So shout out
man.
to him.
Hey, that's the top 0.5%, 1%, 2% of producers.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, 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 in that
That's right.
space.
So let me ask you this, and we talk R&B, and one thing I feel like I neglect to ask, and I always forget. And I'm like, I want to ask this question. What? Tell me about your first the R&B song that captured you so much that made you just say, you know what, I love R&B music. What song was that?
You know what? It's crazy. Uh, but that first record was Whitney Houston, and it was The Greatest Love of All.
Mm,
I remember listening to that record. I had to be 6 years old. And I remember we were moving to Hawaii, but we were here in Atlanta, and my mom was getting ready to, you know, we were getting ready to fly out, and uh, a good friend of hers, we went to, she picked us up to, because she had a son, and we all babysat, so we all played together, and we were in
yeah,
the car. She had a Mercedes SL something fly. She was super fly. My mom's friends were always fly, and
yeah,
the radio came on, and I heard that the greatest love of all. I was like, "Who is that?" And
yeah.
I asked her. I said, "Could you play that back?" She's like, "That's on the radio." So it had
Wow.
already circled around and went to the next song, and she was like, "That's Whitney Houston." And from that point, and and this is a two-part thing, because the next record I heard was "Knocks Me Off My Feet," Stevie Wonder, because my mom
Mm,
was R&B. We didn't listen to R&B until we got with my mom's friends, because she was a gospel.
yeah,
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 we didn't, but I
yeah,
I picked up on those records, those two records, and I was like, man, this is it. And from then on, my my love for R&B developed. And my mom and aunt sang here in Atlanta at Dante's Down the Hatch, the legendary jazz club here. And
yeah,
my mom was always singing around the house. My aunts were always singing. My family civil rights, so they were always singing the civil rights songs, hymns. I mean, it
yeah,
was it
yeah,
was a musical family. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, yeah.
those two records,
First of all, you just brought me back. I've been having so many conversations about Stevie Wonder records, and you just mentioned "Knock Me Off My Feet." Oh man, that's just one of the ones, bro.
hey,
That's
look,
one of
man,
the ones.
and I could keep going, but you said one, so I had to get a two. I had to get a
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
then
yeah,
get a two, because that
yeah, yeah.
in the Key of Life album had so many. You know what I'm saying? It was
Oh man,
at least 8 or 9 records on there that you just gotta. I mean, you like, what the
man.
heck? You know what I'm saying?
I have that vinyl in here. Of course, I listen to that album all the time. That's one of the albums that inspired me most in music for sure.
Right,
Um, I think about Stevie Wonder, you mentioned Whitney Houston, and these are some of our most iconic talents that literally of our lifetime.
right,
Stevie has been doing this thing for what since the since the 60s, or maybe it was the 50s actually.
right,
And then Whitney Houston, obviously, she's no longer with us. Rest in peace to the Queen, but has one of the voices that we consider to be the greatest voice of
right.
all time. So those are two great, great songs, and great artists to pick from. Can you think of any time where an R&B song saved your life or saved I say saved your life, saved the situation. Say for example, you know, you know, if you're dating a girl, you had to go back and pull that song. You had to go go get that R&B song to mend the fences, for a
Oh
better word,
man,
like a better word.
you know what? I've I, I've never really had records that kind of, from an R&B standpoint, mended, but I say this: they've given me courage.
Come on.
So
Okay.
with the particular situation, and one of those records I can remember was in middle school. Come and talk to me. Come and talk
Come
to
on.
me. You know,
Come on.
there was a particular young fur line, if I may go German, that was that I was like, dang, and I was like, you know, and I'm not lost for words. I'm not afraid of nobody or nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
but she was just like, dang, you know, and this is
Little
middle school,
Jodeci
so you
baby
know how
version.
it is. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
man, I heard that come and talk to me. And I was like, okay, we just gonna have because Jodeci said it, you know what I'm saying? It's playing 3 to 4 times on the radio. You know what I'm saying? I think we
Yeah.
were living in North Carolina then. And man, I
Yeah.
think probably 3 days later, I got up the nerve and I was like, you know, what's up? How you doing? You know, I'm Prince, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Even though I couldn't do nothing because my mom was, you know, wasn't endorsing dating or doing anything of the such at
Yeah.
the middle school age, but still just to be able
Absolutely.
to have a conversation, and you know that record was one of those that spoke to me and at that point in time.
Man, I can't think of a better one. That's definitely one of them joints. That's one of them joints, man. That was,
Yeah, that's
that
hey, and that
was that Diary that's Diary of a Mad Band.
no,
That's
that
not
was
no
the
Diary of
first
a Mad
album.
Band.
That's their rookie
It's the
album.
first
That's the
album. It's the
first
first
one
album.
out the
Yeah, that's right. That's
because
right.
I
First
remember the
album. Yeah.
video. They were in the shorts with the high tech boots.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's right. Yeah.
we were like, oh man, it's something different. These not
I
the
was actually I was a member of Jodeci. They just didn't know it. I was,
oh,
whenever
oh
we
okay. You were
toured
the
or whatever.
fifth member.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. They just didn't know it. No, that's what's up. That's what's up. I think about, R&B music is one of those things to me, at least, for definitely R&B fans. We have songs. Like when I first heard "Come and Talk to Me," I remember the mood I was in. Right, I remember I was in junior high school, and I remember what that song felt like and how I'm like, man, I love the way they approach this. So I would be singing that song and other songs like it to the girls over the phone or whatever. That was a nice way to get through. Those are strong things that R&B music, definitely in history for sure. I'm not sure some of the newer music. I don't know if it's actually having those type of conversations. Some of it is, but
Right, 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 right,
that's a
right.
whole nother thing. A whole nother tangent. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
so we have Prince in the building. So let's talk about how important it is. Well, let me rephrase that. You sent me some songs. There's a new artist, Lyrical Anderson, that you're working with that has a project coming out.
yeah. Right.
Um, Cold Blooded Project. I can't wait till that releases and see people respond to the response to that. Tell
Right.
me, what is your role in terms of like when the artist is putting together a project? What do they when they reach out to you or and for your services as a manager, as a consultant? What is it that you do that will help the artist?
Well, with I'll just say with Lyrica, for instance, you know, we have a long-standing management artist friendship relationship, which goes back to the Bad Hair Day project, which I came in and managed and you know A&R and did the rollout. So the role there is everything. But with this project, I go into different modes. There's a management mode. There's a A&R administration mode, which makes sure that all the producers, songwriters, background, all that is credited. Then there's the creative mode where which I've been in the last 2 months with her, where we're putting songs. Producers are bringing in production, and then we're saying that's a record, or I can say, okay, that's one right there. You know what I'm saying? So that's an A&R creative role, like the writers and the people that are around the artist to make these records what they are gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So with her, it's a full thing. It's the deal mode. It's the distributor mode. It's getting ready to uh, put the strategy together for marketing. It's pretty much all of that with
Yeah.
her. Um, and most of my clients outside of her are basically, producers and songwriters. So they're producing and doing the projects, and I'm on the publishing side helping them structure and be able to leverage everything that they have. So pretty much with this project that we have coming, it's the same as what I did in the last. Is pretty much a oversee. I brought on a co-manager with her, with me to help me this time around, as I'm doing many more things.
Yeah.
So this is really really special because it's a different space that she's in, and the music speaks to that, and it speaks to R&B music, dancing, feeling, women, empowerment, speaking to relationships, all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's telling a story. So
Yeah.
and this is what I'm doing. When other clients, it depends on what it is. And right now, I'm shrinking what I'm focused on down more and more, because by the summer it'll be totally publishing in my publishing company. What I'll be doing signing and finding the next power songwriter, the next big producer, A&Rs for my company, all of that. So I'm looking at the future, but there are goals that I believe everybody has to reach in steps. So you have to break an artist and break them totally. You know what I'm saying? So I marked publishing off the list.
Yeah.
I ran a
Yeah.
publishing company. I was an A&R distribution company. Uh, I've managed, so I've done the top five. So now it's the next level, which is, complete publishing and guiding careers and making superstars. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Um, so many artists making music. There's 200,000 songs, I believe, a day being uploaded on DSPs across the world.
Right.
Where is the money being made today?
The money is made in ownership and masters. The master pays 3 to 4 times as much as publishing. So if you can put out your own music and pay for your marketing and just have a distributor, you can, own 80% or 90% based upon the distribution fees. The money is in master ownership. That's why the independents are winning. That's why the majors are downsizing and becoming distributors basically, and giving money based upon the
Yeah.
works and the what the artists are doing. I mean, look at our big extra plug, United Masters, one of the biggest artists independently. I mean, streaming at least 100, 200, 300,000 a week, 400,000 a week. I mean, independently. But the marketing is
Wow.
the key part of artists being successful. So I believe without that, if you have that with an independent artist and have a budget to push it, you can own a big piece of the pie, and the majors will have to pay you based upon a multiple of the success that you're already having as an independent artist. And as you can
Yeah.
see, most independent
Absolutely.
artists are just cashing in and getting the big things so they can run their own stuff. Uh, and not have a major and wait on a release date and 30 artists in front of you. No, we want to release now. And if you look at the model right now, it's going back to Motown in the days when we had Motown and we had Sam Cooke's label and all of
Hmm.
these James Brown,
Yeah.
when they released and they flooded the market, and the big corporate giants came and partnered with them, where we thought we had more, but really independently we had more than we really knew, and we
Without
had
them.
more leverage.
Yeah.
So I believe we're
Yeah.
going back to that, and that's where the money is.
That's important. That's key right there. And I hear it in these days. I know the other avenue for artists to make money or for creatives to make money is in sync licensing. Can you
Yep.
talk about in terms of sync licensing how artists can do that in terms of getting their music on television or commercials or radio for that matter? Just in terms of publication, film.
Yes, I mean sync is based on master use rights, and television. There's a big fee. There's a fee that's paid. You know what I'm saying? And you can cash out. I know my good friends over at Six X Entertainment, Marty Arnold and Sivan Parchman. They're heavy in
Yeah,
sync,
shout out to
and
Six
yeah,
X.
and so that TFP has been successful, and they're getting 100,000, 50,000. I mean, that's 1, 2,000 hits. They're doing Fenty Beauty and
Yeah,
Fenty. You know what I'm saying? They're doing Super Bowl ads. They're doing basketball. I
yeah,
mean, her stuff is all over the
yeah,
place. Saint Queen. I mean,
yeah,
she's making bank doing that. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
with that being said,
yeah. Shout out
sync
to
is
Stevon. I know
valuable.
those guys over there.
You know,
Yeah,
it's viable. It's one of, I mean, it's an easy way to recoup. I just got a sync thing for my client Cassius J for Migos record. I mean, a Cardi B feature Migos record, Drip, and it was high. It was six figures.
talk about it. Talk about it.
So what I'm saying, hey, look, movie, TV, film, all of that is very important on the publishing side too. And we can't
Yeah,
forget it. If you notice, more producers are moving towards that and are doing well by having
yeah,
that a part of their catalog. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's like, bro, like let's not be short sighted in publishing and in these master rights. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And so don't, you know all your income streams. Know where
that's
you
right.
can go get money. You know what I'm saying? And it's not from the
So
paper bag.
let's talk about
Yeah.
income streams. So a lot of artists don't know, So we
Yeah.
know their sound exchange is one. All the
Yes.
songs
Sound
need to be
exchange
registered
one.
on. You need to be registered on your PROs, whoever that is,
Your mind.
ASCAP, BMI. I'll let you give that
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What other
Uh,
ways?
yeah. Yes. Of course. You named a couple of them. Sound exchange, ASCAP BMI, which is your writer's share, where all your records are recorded first. When they're inception, when you feel they're about to come out. You have your MLC, which is your music licensing collective, which holds all of the digital royalties from streaming, and most people aren't registered there. They're missing out on because if you notice, a lot of producers from back in the day, they were selling physical copies. So now that their stuff is switched over to digital, there's a
Yes.
different payment collected for that, and that's the MLC, which was created out of the Music Modernization Act. So
Okay.
now you have that. Then you have your master use. Your master royalties, which is those when you say your royalty rate 3 points, 4 points. People ignore that in those production agreements, but they're very
That's
important
right.
10 years from now. And you have to look in the
That's right.
future because once you're recouped and the project is recouped, guess what? Royalties are paid out at that 3 to 40% rate, whatever your rate was.
That's
So
right.
there are producers that produce records and have major hits that I know that we're going after, and my clients going after master royalties because they want you to sleep on that because you're gonna go have to go get them. You're gonna have. They're not just
Yeah.
gonna come say, "Hey, they're
I
I
got $2 million
Ian,
waiting for you.
get your yeah. I have $2 million here for you on your master
Yeah.
royalties.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna have to register with Universal, Sony, everyone to collect all of those royalties from the labels that you produce records on. So and
Yeah.
it's and so many people miss out on that money too. And it's a way to leverage too. You can leverage that money and get money, you know what I'm saying? As well, So you have those income streams, and then you got neighboring rights, which is your overseas money, which you have an agent there with the publishing company that's that's collecting on behalf of you overseas on your stream. So all of this is very important. That's about five or six different streams of income that's coming in. You got performance royalties, which is of course sound exchange. Uh,
Right.
it's very very important. You know what I'm saying? To
Absolutely.
to creatives to know this. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And
absolutely.
so, but if you
Absolutely.
get everything in the right in the beginning, you won't have to correct it in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think about so many conversations I've had with just throughout the years, even before the show, of how many people I know on on the hip hop, R&B, gospel, pop, any genre that's put out music
mhm,
either on labels or independent, or major labels rather, or independent labels, or just on their own that didn't know any of this stuff. All they knew was the hard copy sale, or all they knew was they may
mm,
have known to register with ASCAP and BMI or CSAC,
of
but
course,
they didn't know
right.
Sound Exchange, or they didn't know,
Yeah,
Harry Fox. They didn't have they didn't know how to collect the money. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know
right,
what was happening.
exactly,
Yeah.
right.
I
And
remember I
another
remember
thing of
seeing,
another,
you know,
just
a check
yeah,
coming in the mail
another,
from Sound Exchange. I'm sorry, I remember seeing a check coming in the mail from Sound Exchange years ago. This had to be like 15 years ago when I first found out about it. And I had registered for it, but I didn't know. And I remember a producer partner of mine, he called me and said, "Hey man, you should have a check, man." And I'm like, he said, "Man, just go on the website and just and put your information in there." And sure enough, I did. And it wasn't a lot of money. It might have been like $400. But the point is they
right,
had that for me. And I was like, oh man. So I've known that since then. So that's definitely a key nugget to know. What were
right.
you about to say something?
No, I was just gonna say another thing is in these producer agreements. A lot of people just do the splits, but in the producer agreements, we have the splits, and now we have the sound exchange agreement, so the artist can sign off while you're doing the production agreement. Because what I found is a lot of producers have bypassed the sound exchange and didn't have that signed off on by the artist. So now you have to go back and have that signed off so you can collect the money, and so that's another issue. But now we're solving that by making sure that the sound exchange is in the producer agreement so that the producer gets credited and we can turn that sound exchange LOD in as soon as it's signed off on by the artist or the label. So, you know,
Absolutely.
it's very important.
Are you looking for other clients to bring on right now? I heard you mention that you were downsizing or getting more focused on specific things.
As you know what, I'll say this. As I'm um I guess downsizing, what I found is uh, there's more interest in people come to me about doing something or managing or handling something. So, from a consulting standpoint, I probably will continue that. Management, probably I'll set it up my company where I have other managers that do the day to day stuff. Uh, but more I'm finding is that more people want to kind of talk to me. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
uh, I don't know if I'm looking for anything else. I've never looked for anything in my career. I've never
Yeah.
sought out a client. I've never said I want to manage you. I've never done any of that. I've kind of let it be a spirit thing, you know, and whether I felt like doing it or whether I felt I had the everything to put it in place, you know, because I don't like to do anything where there's not a plan or a strategy attached to it. Because
Mhm.
I, you know, without that, you plan to fail, and I'm not about failing. I'm like about succeeding and putting points
Yeah.
on the board that are effective. And so,
Yeah.
when I look at clients, I look at how can I help them. If I feel that I cannot be of assistance and can't help them, I let them know like I can't do that right now because my attention is here. Or if you could wait and hold up, let me finish this. You know, I think you have to be honest like that where we are, and you know, as a professional. So, you know, it's just all about you know, seeing what works. And I'm not gonna say I won't, but it has to be something that makes good business sense and where I feel I can
Yeah.
be of assistance.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. We have to go through our hot takes. So we have. I guess we're just all across the board, just getting everyone's opinions on this. We all have a very wide taste bud, a palette for music and R&B music, and being R&B being such a wide, having so many subgenres. Essentially,
Right.
is there a favorite artist that you have? Your favorite artist in R&B music?
Man, you know what? It's crazy because my favorite artist isn't in R&B music, but this genre influences R&B so much because most of everybody that comes in R&B comes out of this genre. Um, and my favorite influence in music all time is the Winans.
Come on.
Period. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they changed R&B music along with the Clark sisters, but they changed gospel and gave it a pop feel, and
Yeah.
it was able to cross over into R&B. And all the R&B artists, including Michael Jackson, the greatest entertainer of
Yeah.
all, had them come sing background vocals on a number of records, and their their
I don't think I
song,
knew. I don't think I knew MJ had the wine and sing some background vocals.
yeah, they were on the Bad album.
Oh, know
Man,
that.
I think
Okay.
Man in the Mirror. It's a couple records on the album they sang background
Nice. Okay. I
on,
don't think I knew that.
and they were signed to Quest Records, which
Yeah.
is Quincy Jones'
Quincy
label,
Jones. That's
which
right.
made them pop. I mean, they went from
That's right.
gospel, and we went. We get songs like "It's Time." Time, y'all, time to make that change. We are the
Yeah, when Teddy
people.
Riley
We
produced that.
with
Yeah.
Teddy, and then they had
Yeah.
a friend with Aaron Hall. A friend,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh
You
yeah,
then
I
you get
remember all
all of
that.
these great records, not only
Yeah.
from their first inception, which was '84, which is Tomorrow, and you know,
Of
Let
course.
My People, all these other records, but to
That's
me,
right. With millions
that
and all that. Yeah.
Millions was Quest Records. That was Anita Baker caused
So
them to
yeah.
go over. To
That's
me,
right.
they were
That's
the
right.
greatest. The group, the brothers first, and then now we get BB and CC, who totally
That's
changed
right.
gospel with their Lifestyles album. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you
And the
something. Hold on. Let me tell you something. BB and CC are top five greatest duos of all
all
time.
time, all time, all time.
Any genre, you can add Outkast to that. You can
Yeah,
add, you know what I'm saying? I don't care what duo you add. BB and CC is top five.
right, exactly. And you
Yeah.
have to, So for me, it was the Winans, and even though it's not R&B, they affected R&B music,
Oh,
and
no doubt.
a lot of a
We talk
lot
we
of
talk a lot
art.
about I'm sorry, we talk a lot
Yeah.
about commission, right?
Oh yeah, them too.
We
Yeah,
hear this
yeah.
we hear this in the culture. But commission came after the whining.
Exactly,
Fred
exactly.
Hammond played bass. He played bass for the Winans, you know.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, and I say this all the time. Marvin Winans is definitely hands down one of my favorite vocalists of all time. You know.
And guess what? Not only was he a vocalist, he was producing and writing most of the
Oh yeah.
records, and
Oh yeah.
playing and writing. He was the main
Yeah.
writer for all of the
Yeah.
hits. He
Yeah.
was and so it's like, you know, it's just like the Clark sisters. Twinkie was doing it for them. He
That's
was
right.
doing it
That's right.
for the guys. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's amazing what comes out of there, which is a blend of gospel, R&B, and pop together with a
Yeah.
positive message. That's it.
No
So,
doubt.
uh, that to me though, that's like the greatest. And everybody knows, anybody that's close to me knows that Prince loves the Winans. Period. You know, I
Yeah.
this period, and that's in any genre. And I've
Yeah.
of course Michael Jackson and the Jackson Five, and all of these great Marvin Gaye and Jackie Wilson and James Brown and Chuck Berry, and I could
Yeah.
keep going on, because one thing
Yeah.
about I feel about what's missing from music today is people don't know about what came before them to influence the sound that they are trying to achieve right now. So if you go back
Yeah.
and study, guess what? You'll find everything you need. But
That's
and we
right.
have access to everything now. You can just pull it up on the internet. I had to go read books when I was 7 and go to the library and read and pull, music, get the Guinness Book of World Records and the
Yeah. Yeah.
periodicals my grandmother had sitting on there, the encyclopedias. The
Come on.
periodicals every year where they say
Yep.
this year the greatest thing. So I would read all that. You know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
figure
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
oh man, this is who was doing this. Chuck Berry's the original rock star. You know what I'm saying? Little Richard made this
That's right.
original sound, and they followed after this. And
That's
Elvis
right.
was you. Elvis stuff was written by a brother who
That's
wrote
right.
all of this stuff, and he
That's right.
and he mimicked him to the key.
He mimicked
So
him to the T. That's right. That's right.
so it's like, but yeah. So that's me.
You
That
know what? Prince,
that's
I'm
kind
sitting
of
here and I'm listening to
my
you.
base.
I mean, look, I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm
Hmm.
looking at you. And the more you talk and bring up the Winans, you actually kind of look like Marvin Winans Jr. a little bit. Have you ever gotten that? Have you
No,
ever gotten that?
I've got Charles Barkley. I've definitely got Charles Barkley. I haven't got Marvin Winans' son yet, but that's a first. That's a
Yeah,
first.
you kind of, yeah, yeah. You kind of look like, what? The more I'm hearing you talking, I'm like, you know what? You kind of look like him a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I love that, man. I mean, to be honest with you, you're naming some of the people who are my most influential people as well. So we have that in common. I do love to ask that question, like, who is that artist? Because you're right. Of the Winans, I would say of the tree, the Winans tree, we get Commission. Of that tree, we get Guy, we get Jodeci, we get Boys to Men. We get all those groups
Right,
rooting. Essentially, they all come from that. Yeah, I love that.
right.
So, on your Mount Rushmore, who do you have as your top four? So, Mount Rushmore would be four
Okay.
favorite R&B artists.
Favorite R&B artist. First we'll start with James Brown, because he brought in
Come
the
on.
entertainment aspect of what we see today. You know what I'm saying? Of what Michael Jackson became came from him. And the way he made music was very innovative. He didn't do
Yeah,
R&B the way it traditionally was done. He made you
yeah,
move, he made you slow down, he made you feel, and he had soul. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
James Brown
yeah.
is the epitome of a total artist packed in one. You know what I'm saying? Uh, then then we go to Marvin Gaye. We got to go
Come
Marvin
on.
Gaye because he's one of the smoothest, sexiest brothers that could sing and convey a love record in a way
That's right.
that, and make you conscious too. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Uh, and one of the most enigmatic figures as an R&B male singer who could actually sing with other people. Him and Tammy
Yeah,
Terrell as a duo, that
that's
even
right.
though it's short lived in a certain amount of time, they impacted. He was impactful, his vocal, and
Yeah,
he changed the world with his social consciousness in
that's
R&B.
right. That's right.
So we have him. Then we go, and um, I have to have Whitney Houston, Whitney Houston, for the vocal ability to translate a record where you felt it in your soul.
Come on.
Whitney Houston made you, it may not have been her record she wrote, but she made you feel like she wrote it, she
Right.
went through
That's
it.
right.
It was
That's right.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
It was her experience. She made the record her. I mean,
that's right.
and then I have Aretha Franklin. She has to be there. So two women and two men. Aretha Franklin,
Okay.
one of the greatest who could go over all genres and sing anything, whether it was Pavarotti, whether it
Yeah.
was a form of country gospel, whether it was a form of country R&B, pop,
Yeah.
riding on the freeway, cause of love
Come
is
on.
a weekend. Come on now, that's 84. She
Ah,
been past. So what I'm saying is,
yeah.
these are. And if
Yeah.
I had an honorable mention, I have to put Luther in there. Got to put
Come
Luther
on.
Vandross in there
Gotta put him in there.
uh, as well. Those are my top
I
four
love
with an
that.
honorable mention.
I love that. You know, a lot of times we ask for the Mount Rushmore or the top 5 or whatnot, and, you know, a lot of people start putting newer artists in, and when you start thinking about the real meat of that, the Mount Rushmore is like the forefathers, right? So it's like the people that we put up
Right.
to, you know, to admire. Of they may not be the current best artists. They will be of, you know, of the forefathers, the trailblazers. So that's a fantastic James Brown, Marvin Gaye, Whitney Houston, and Aretha
Aretha Franklin.
Franklin, and then you mentioned honorable mention Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
You can't argue with
Yes,
that.
sir.
You can't argue with that. You can't argue with that. I love that. I love that. Look, we're gearing up to wrap up. I'm gonna tell you, man. Thank you for making the time, brother. This has been a fantastic conversation.
Yes.
And as always, to our audience, we have a continued conversation, guys. Oh, you see, I had the merch on today. I got the merch on today. Can we talk
Oh
R&B?
yeah.
We
I
got my
like
man
that.
Prince Howard in the building, aka the Publishing Guru. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless.
Can we talk? Oh, can we talk?